Now let us see the crop production management. So here already we discussed one issue, that is with the farmer. So farmers, all the farmers, they cannot practice same kind of production management because there are small farmers, medium farmers, average farmers, big farmers, those who cultivate large amounts of land. Farmers who cultivate large amount of land, they can invest more money, they can invest money on technology, advanced machinery, agri machinery. Say for example, a big farmer can afford to buy a harvester. So harvester, it will harvest and cut all the crop in very less time. It is beneficial. It gives a lot of profit. Whereas a small farmer cannot afford, he has to either hire the harvester or he has to go for manual method or any other means which is expensive compared to the big farmer. So here, likewise in the production practices, it depends upon the farmer. They have different practices like no cost production, low cost production and high cost production. So whatsoever here in the production management, there are certain things like what kind of, how the soil is prepared, what kind of chemicals or manure is added to the soil, and how the water is supplied, irrigated, how the land is irrigated, and what kind of cropping patterns are followed. So these are the different things that will come under the crop production management. So what comes under this? Nutrients. The thing is that different kind of nutrients, chemical fertilizers or manures whatsoever we add, and irrigation, and the other one is cropping patterns. Let us talk about the nutrients first. So let us talk about the nutrient management. So what are nutrients? So we know in case of our food, when you talk about nutrients, we call carbohydrate, protein, fat, vitamin, minerals, and all these are the nutrients so that we require. In the same way, plants also require certain nutrients. So the plants, they require 16 nutrients. Among these 16, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, these are supplied by water and air. Water and air supply this carbon, hydrogen and oxygen to the plants. So 16 minus 3, there are 13 nutrients. Out of these 13 nutrients, 6 nutrients are required in large quantity. They are called as macronutrients, and other 7 are required in small quantity. They are called as micronutrients. So 6 plus 7 together 13. Macronutrients in the sense they are required in large quantity. Micronutrient in the sense they are required in small quantity. Micronutrient doesn't mean that they are not very important. They are very important. Even though they are required in very small quantity, their absence will lead to certain kind of deficiency diseases in the plants. So likewise humans, if you have any deficiency in your food, you get deficiency diseases. We studied about vitamin A deficiency, vitamin C deficiency. Likewise, even plants, if they have any deficiency of the nutrients in the soil, they get certain kind of diseases which are shown on the leaves, which affect the growth, which affect the production. So the production of the plants or the crops must be good in the sense they should be having proper nutrients. All the nutrients are properly supplied, and the soil, it should be having all the essential nutrients required for the growth of the particular plant. So the nutrient management is very important. Why we should manage? Naturally the soil has got nutrients. The soil is being used up for agriculture again and again and again and again for number of hundreds of years. You see a farmer, his grandfather, they're all cultivating the same soil. They're growing so many tons of crops in the same soil. So the crops, when they are grown up, they are using the nutrients from the soil. The soil become deficient of nutrients, lack of nutrients. So nutrients are to be replenished. The soil has to be recharged. The nutrients are to be added to the soil. And who will do that? The farmer has to do that. That is what called as nutrient management. Then how can we do that? Where do we get the nutrients to pour back into the soil? The nutrients, they are present in two different forms. Naturally, they are present in the form of manure. The excrete of animals is a very best source of nutrients for the plants. So animal, cow dung and other animal dung, that is brought and mixed up with the soil. So this is the best manure. Again, manure is divided into animal waste, animal manure and green manure, compost and green manure. So the compost, here you can take vermicompost. Compost, that is the excreta, waste of the animals, is of course not directly taken to the soil. That is, let it dried and certain kind of changes takes place, and that is with the help of earthworms. If the compost is more decomposed, when it is getting decayed in such form, it contains all the nutrients ready to mix up with the soil. That is called as vermicompost. So farmers are given training in preparing the vermicompost. Vermicompost can be prepared from the household waste, vegetable waste, hotel waste and whatsoever the organic waste is there. That waste is kept in a pit, and in the pit earthworms are kept, and these earthworms, they eat up all the waste material and they produce organic manure. So that compost is called as a vermicompost, which is the best natural nutrient for the soil. So by adding this kind of the vermicompost or manure, naturally obtained compost is good for the plant as well as for the soil. It does not cause any soil or water pollution. So that is the major advantage of the manure or the vermicompost. In some cases where there is no possibility of getting a vermicompost or animal waste, the farmers, they can go for green manure also. So what is green manure? Green manure is a kind of technique. Say for example, they have taken some land for cultivation. Before they start sowing the seeds, they grow some plants like sun hemp. Some green plants they grow in the crop field. So after that, with the help of a tractor, they mulch the green plants in the soil. They crush the green plants in the soil. So these green plants, they get crushed in the soil and they get decayed and turns to manure. So this is another method of adding manure, green manure and compost or vermicompost. So these come under the manure. Manure is a natural one. It consists of nature identical nutrients which are easily absorbed by the soil, and the soil which is added up with manure, it has got good water holding capacity. So by that, the roots can easily absorb water and minerals. So that is the most advantageous and best method. The farmers, those do not have the facility of manure, or those do not rely more on the manure for high production, they go for fertilizers, chemicals like potassium, sulfur, phosphorus. These kind of chemicals are directly, they are in the form of small pellets in the bags. So these chemicals are directly applied to the plants. But plants, they cannot directly take the chemicals readily, and they cannot absorb whatsoever the chemical is sprinkled immediately. So there are certain precautions has to be taken while applying the chemical fertilizers. The farmers should see that the chemical fertilizer is uniformly distributed, and see that after they spread this chemical fertilizer, they should see that the chemical fertilizer is not washed away by the rainwater or irrigated water, so by that the water bodies are polluted. So that care has to be taken by the farmers. And of course, the excessive use of chemical fertilizer is not good, because it pollutes and it decreases the fertility of the soil by excessive use and repeated use, and it may create imbalance in the amount of nutrients, and it will raise up the certain nutrient in high quantity and certain nutrient in less quantity. So fertilizers are not so advisable, but in the view of increasing the production, farmers can use the fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, but with certain precautions. That is, post sprinkled precautions. After sprinkling, what precautions are to be taken for complete utilization and not polluting the water bodies and other things. So this is the nutrient management. So in the crop production management, we see that organic farming. Nowadays, there is much more importance is given to this organic farming, and many of the products which are labeled as organic are sold at a higher rate in the markets. People are more interested to buy a product which is labeled as organic compared to other products. The reason is the product is grown in a crops where no artificial fertilizers or pesticides or insecticides and no other chemicals are used. Only the organic manure and other organic methods are followed to grow the crop. So people are interested to buy such product because the vegetables, fruits and other things that are grown in the general method, normal way using chemical fertilizers, they have got the remains of pesticides and fertilizers or chemicals in the food which is being consumed by the people, and they are getting affected by various diseases. So people are much more health conscious today. They are worried about their health. So the food grains and other fruits, vegetables which are grown from the farms, so if they are labeled as organic, if they are grown in an organic method, people are more interested to buy. So in organic farming, they don't use any fertilizers. They use organic manure and organic biofertilizers. Biofertilizers are the kind of culture, microbial culture, blue-green algae culture. Biofertilizers are used and no chemical herbicides or pesticides are used. Only organic methods are used to grow the crops. So such kind of organic farming, they use natural materials like neem leaves, neem juice, and they use turmeric, and they use cow urine, cow dung, cow milk. So these kind of materials are used in growing the crops. So this is called as organic farming. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.